Do. All right. So this is actually episode 38. I remember last time I said it's episode 38, but that wasn't actually episode 38. Welcome everybody.
Hello.
Lovers. We're actually doing this one live. So if you're tuning in, you're tuning in. If not, it's all good in the hood. So yeah, it's been a while since we did one of these a live episode thingies, which I like doing because
I assumed we were always live.
Yeah, no, we're not. We don't always do this. We hardly ever do this, but I like doing it because every once in a while you get like the people talking shit, and that's always fun. I don't even know if anyone's. I mean, I guess it's not that late, so you never know. We might get some like people posting up and shit. So how are you doing tonight, Brendan?
I'm okay. I have court in like 2 days.
Yeah, for what?
For jumping the turnstile.
Yeah, you broke the law again.
I jumped the turnstile, and the cops were right there, and they looked at me and went, "What'd you just do?" I'm like, "I just blatantly jumped the turnstile."
Wait, so you actually got caught like jumping the turnstile?
Like red-handed. And I was like immediately like, I did that. Can you give me the ticket, please? Hurry up, because I have a bus to catch.
When did this happen?
About a month ago.
No. Oh yeah, and it happened in Staten Island. I remember. Mm-hmm. That's so embarrassing, dude. Of all the places, honestly. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, shit. So you go to court. What is it? Tomorrow?
2 days from now.
In 2 days. So you go to court on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna do anything, man. They're not gonna hit you with anything stupid. You're probably gonna pay a fine because the judge is gonna look at you. They're like, this guy is like 33 years old and he's jumping the subway turnstiles. Like, they're gonna hit you with. Actually, that might hurt. That might hurt a lot. Like for you, like if the city charges you like $200 for this.
It's $100.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, are they really making you go to court for that?
Yep.
Why?
Because I blatantly jumped the turnstile, and I didn't even fight the cops on it.
Wait. Was there an option to just like take the fucking charge and to just be like, yo, I did do that. It was my fault.
I don't know. They just kind of like, I was right in front of them, and they turned around. They were like, I'm like, yep. You just blatantly saw me do that. There's no like, oops. There's like, they watched me do it.
You're such a fucking degenerate, dude. You gotta.
So I just had to be like, yes, that definitely just happened.
Oh my fucking god.
I just broke the law. Get on with it. Pretty much.
Damn. So, well, at least you don't have work that day, right?
Well, at least I wasn't like a minority or like, brown or something. They might have choked me to death or killed me.
Oh yeah, that happened. Do you have work on the day you have to go to court?
No, because they just switched my hours, so I don't have work.
That's good. You mean they cut your hours? They gave you the shitty hours?
I only have 3 days a week right now. I'm struggling, people.
Oh yeah.
If anyone wants to send me money, maybe I'll like piss my pants and send them to you for a couple bucks. I need help.
No one's gonna give you money for that. They gotta really see you what's the word? They gotta really see you demean yourself like online, like really degrade yourself in public. They have to really.
I've been degraded by the law.
No, you haven't. All you got was a summons. That doesn't really count as like.
Because I couldn't afford the goddamn fucking Metro card.
Yeah. Dude, you're going to need a new job like real soon, aren't you?
Yes.
What do you would you consider
Can
like
somebody please help me find a high-paying job where I don't have to do shit? Because I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
You could try working for a college. Like, you know, work for a university, like as a custodian or some shit. They would hire you, I think.
Eh.
We're not talking about like a government job. It's like it's an education, you know.
Oh, fuck college kids.
Well, here you don't have anything to do with the college kids. You're just the guy who cleans up after them. You don't even talk to them. You don't even interact with them.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, no. There's also a lot of other jobs like in colleges that you can do that doesn't have to do with like manual labor. You know, I'm sure there's some secretarial work you could get into, but I don't know if that's your bag either. You know what your problem is? You didn't go for any vocational skills. You know, like
No.
like seamstress.
I dropped out of high school to be in a punk band. I'm not. Fit
Well, that's
for
what I'm
life.
saying. Like I'm like people who will pursue vocational skills are usually people who dropped out of high school. They're like, yo, I'm gonna be a mechanic or something. You know, I'm gonna be a something. You know, like that's not quite as shitty as being a fast food worker, but that's also not quite as good as being.
Yeah, no, I just never did. I'm kind of fucked.
Well, it's never too late. You could still get into something while you can. I mean, it's not gonna get any easier as time goes on. So you might as well do it now while you can. If there was a thing. Like, what would you get into? Maybe you could get into like, like senior care. You know, taking care of old people.
I'd be good at that. Yeah,
Would you
I'd be good at a
really?
lot of things that I'm not really qualified to do.
Would you really?
Yeah, I think so. But
Okay. You would take care of old people. You would change their diapers without like complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool
You
with
would do that.
I at my job we have special needs kids who work there, and it's kind of like a program we got going. Because my boss is was a paraprofessional at the high school.
Honestly,
And
though, if you
not too long ago, one of them had a bunch of coffee and was taking a shit, and their parents pulled up, went honk like they usually do at a certain time at 4 o'clock. But I guess they just didn't really think about it and just got up from the toilet really quick while they were shitting still. Special needs kids. So you just got up while he was like mid shit and just and I'd like everyone else was freaked out by it, and I was the only person who was like, shut the fuck up. I'll go in there and clean that shit up.
honestly, if I was
Buy me a fucking coffee tomorrow morning. I'll clean all that shit up. And I clean the shit up. It's not a big deal. I clean cat shit every day. It's shit. You know what? Just don't put it in your mouth. Don't put your hands in your mouth while you're cleaning shit. You'll be fine. Wash your hands. You're good.
if I was in your position, I would look.
It's not that hard to clean shit.
I mean, that's a good idea. Like if I was in
Good
your
idea to not put your hands in your mouth while you're
No,
cleaning
no.
shit. Just,
I'm saying in
just
terms.
wash your hands after you clean shit.
No,
That's it.
I'm saying in terms of the jobs like you could possibly go for. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea to like, you know, because like all prospects of looking for something profitable like that you can actually wholesomely live on yourself is out the window. Because, you know, you just admitted you can't do anything. So what you can do is you could look for the most ridiculous, fucked up job that'll give you the craziest stories for the podcast. For example, something as simple as like working the overnight shift at like a deli. Like you will see and deal with the most fucked, and it's a chill job. You know, the only problem is the hours. Like those are weird. Hours.
Not the only problem. The only problem with these jobs that give you a lot of stories. I was a bike messenger for 7 years. Amazing fucking stories. Shit pay, shit work.
Well, yeah,
you're fucking dying.
Well, yeah, so
you're risking your life for a couple bucks per package.
Yeah, so
All
remember,
commission work. It's fucking no, it's robbery. You feel like, oh, there's no one breathing down my back. I'm on the streets. I'm just fucking a freedom and I'm alive. It's not. You're a fucking servant. You're fucking a peasant. You're delivering packages $3 a piece, going uptown, loading your back up, hurting your back, going through the fucking freezing cold, hot summers. You know, it'll be 9 below zero. Your phone's ringing at 9 in the morning. You're coming in, right?
yeah.
How long till you're downtown?
But I'm saying,
It's not, and you have to pay your rent. It's not like you're that free.
but if that's like your only option, I mean, if that's like as good as you can get, then I'm saying like completely go the other way. Like go for something that'll like put you in the most fucked up situations that you could actually be performative about your experiences. You know, for you to say like, yo, this job is so fucked up, but I really have no other choice. And at least the job I'm doing now gives me enough funny stories to be able to like go on a microphone and like relay my experiences so people could like get a real kick out of it. I'm saying like
prostituting
no,
yourself?
no, you don't have to go that far. I'm saying something as simple as like working an overnight shift at a bodega or a deli or something. You know, somewhere that's open like 24 hours. That's when you really get the good shit. You know, like that's when the really fucked up
The
shit
thing
goes
is,
down.
that's what I feel about like sex work. Doing all those different things isn't worse than selling your body for sex. I feel like maybe sex workers are smarter because they're doing shit for like a couple $100
What does
an hour.
that have to do with anything? You don't qualify as a sex worker, Brendan. I'm sorry.
But you're
not-
selling your body, though. You're selling your body no matter what. And if you're not, you don't have a degree, whatever, you're selling like your labor. You're selling your back, your muscles.
All right,
the
so
bones in your
so
body.
basically what you're telling me is sex work is work. All right, great.
Sex work,
Like,
no,
I agree.
sex work
Okay, let's
is
move on.
actually better work.
What do you mean? Like what? You saying they have it easy? Is that it? Is that what you're getting at?
No, but if you can make more money in less time doing something like that doesn't destroy your body as much, why wouldn't you?
Who says sex work doesn't destroy your body? I'm not saying the work in and of itself is what's causing the destruction behind your body, but when you're working like crazy hours and you're doing, like you said, when you're doing manual labor for like not that much pay, and also, I don't know, sex work is different because there's a like, what is it? There's an added layer of risk, right? You never know who you're meeting. Like any one of your clients could be particularly
But what
like,
if you're just like showing your butthole?
Brendan, you're not going to make money doing this. Like, I don't know why you keep thinking about this. You know what? That's your problem. You always look for like the easy solution, like the easy way out. You're always like, oh, I could just be a bike messenger because you don't have to be good at anything to do this. Or, oh, I could just show my butthole to gay dudes and they'll pay me. Cause that means
You can though.
yeah, but you're not. You don't got it like that. I'm sorry. Like you maybe there was a time in your era when before the internet when when this whole business was less congested. But I'm sorry. Like you're not. You're like C-tier goods at best nowadays. Now that OnlyFans is a thing, like you're not gonna make you just gotta just shove that idea out of your mind. Honestly, you're right. I guess there is kind of a lifestyle involved. I don't want to say it's particularly
Well, I
novel.
was just getting to, at this point, I feel like I'm just selling like whatever I can. Like I'm selling my body pretty much. When I work at entry-level jobs all the time, I'm selling my body.
So, do you really think that's the core? That's the core of it. Everything. It's selling your body. No, the real element of all of work in general. What you're really trading that's actually valuable is time. Time is the ultimate currency. Why? I'll explain it to you. Because time is the one thing we can never have.
You don't have to explain that to me.
But I'm saying, like, nothing's more precious than time in this earth. Not even, not money, not gold, not air, not what. It's time.
Yes.
Time is the one thing we can never get enough of, and we're constantly losing it.
And do you think we get enough for our time?
What?
Do you think most of us get enough for our time?
I mean, in what sense? Like, if you're talking about monetarily, no.
Yes, monetarily.
I don't think, no, because that's not how capitalism works. Yeah, capitalism works in a way where the only way you could have absolute winners is if you have absolute losers, and that's not exactly the fairest system. Yeah, I agree. I don't think people are like necessarily getting enough for the amount of time they put into labor and service of someone else's business or their profit. Yeah, no, I don't think the system is necessarily fair. Like, but at the same time, like you can't just look at it and like see it as like, oh, I'm just trading my body and end it there. No, there's something deeper than your body, and it's time. Time could matter more.
Yeah, but if you have no education and like you're pretty much just like, I'll just fucking do whatever. Like a lot of people, like I'm 33 and I'll work at places. Even since I was in my early 20s, I've worked at places where there was like somebody who was 40, 50. Like, yeah, I can do this. I'll do whatever. And it's like, it's sad to me because I'm like, oh my God, you get desperate, you get old, and some people just don't have the education, whatever, and they have to just go into places and say, I'll do any uncomfortable thing for the money so I can
You know what's fucked
stay
up?
alive.
Though? You're telling me this like As if like so many influences in your life haven't told you this is exactly how you would end up if you don't do something. You know, like you've been told the same thing over and over again. You just chose not to listen. Like you knew exactly what you were getting into. You can't say you weren't. You can't sit here and say like, oh wow, I got shit all over me, knowingly jumping into a pool of shit. You know, like. This is why I was going back to like.
Well, yes, I guess when you're young, you have.
Well, it's also like this.
You have ideas that you're going to be able to do something different.
Honestly, as fucked up as it sounds, I think what fucked you up the most is having like supportive and loving parents. Like that really did fuck you up because like, you know, I can't say I grew up with loving and supporting parents, but at the same time, like growing up without that kind of positive, you know, influence and support kind of forced me to put me in a position to like look after myself, you know, to earn everything I have for myself, to not have like parents, so to speak, who give enough shits for me to rely on. I had to do everything myself. And now look at our positions. I'll never have to deal with the shit you ever have to deal with. And yet at the same time, you're the one who grew up with like loving and supporting and understanding and empathetic parents. I didn't. And it's like, it's kind of crazy, right? Like isn't that backwards how like it ends up like that? But it's like such a common thing, especially in Staten Island. Maybe it's not just like how you support them. It's like the way you support them. You know, if you like love and care for your child without like also offering like the necessary correct kind of challenges, you know, and maybe it's not even their fault. Maybe these challenges are intrinsic to very nuanced like life experiences. Maybe I only experienced it because I was raised by immigrants. You know, you can't say you were raised by immigrants. I was directly. I'm like a first generation American. It's definitely going to change shit, you know.
I don't know because I don't know if I believe in nature versus nurture completely anyway.
It's it's funny because we've had this debate on the mic, and like I was listening to NPR, and there was like this whole like it was an official scientific / socio-political debate between like social workers and scientists, and like one side was saying like parenting is overrated. You know, parental influence has very little to do with it. Genetic influence is a really like a huge component, whereas the other side who's arguing against it aren't necessarily saying it's like, oh, parenting is the end all be all. What they really are saying is the environment is really more impactful in a person's like psychological and mental development than their genetics, right? So it's like, and you know, neither one won out over the other. I think the reason why like one argument won in terms of like the audience consensus was because like, you know, when you look at like social conventions and like social systems put into place that support like marginalized people, a lot of those are predicated on viewing the environment as something more to blame, you know, for a person's like circumstance as opposed to like just their genetics. And it sets a dangerous precedent, you know, once you start like sitting there and saying it's like, oh, it's mostly genetics, it's the genes. Suddenly they're going to start thinking it's like, well, why should I start like, you know, having my taxes deducted in support of people who are just going to be fuck ups anyway, if their genes dictated from the beginning, no matter how much societal support we give them. Like, why should they get insurance then? You know, if they're already like biologically destined to be fuck ups, and what's the point of giving them any kind of, you know, societal support? That's why, you know, like, so it's like scientifically, there's so much proof that like genetics is like a huge. You even see it in life. Like, you don't have to be a scientist to see just how much like genetics impacts a person's like development. Like things like, you know, like addiction, like addictive habits. Like a lot of that can be hereditary. Not so much as like smoking,
alcoholism and shit like that's definitely hereditary.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not even saying like, oh, your child by genetics is guaranteed to like alcohol. It's more like their body is going to react.
But if they
like,
do it, they're probably going to like it more than
everybody else.
Else.
You could easily imagine like it's not even controversial to say physiologically some people will react differently to alcohol in slightly different, you know, in slightly different places and slightly different increments. That's like believable, right? So it's like you can't rule out genetics at all. Like, it's clearly a huge component. But then you have so many cases where people were born like, you know, like from like the worst possible, like, you know, results of a genetic lottery, and yet they managed to like turn out to be like 6'4", Chad or whatever, super intelligent. There's so many.
Some people might completely just fucking reject whatever they came
because there's too many exceptions.
Completely bounce the opposite way.
And there's also been like, for example, there's been instances where you have twins, right? Where you have twins that were born and separated at birth. And then, you know, that's a great example of study, because you could bring those two people back together as adults, and then you could really see like these are two people who have the exact same genetic, you know, lineage, but they have completely different, separate, like raised experiences, upbringings. So it's like you're able to like really, it's a huge component to this study. You need examples like that. Like we need to study twins that have been separated from birth, because that gives us like the greatest amount of insight as to like just how far genetics, like carries over and stuff, and just how far it's like really your environment. I mean, like, I just think it's interesting because, like, obviously, if we had solved this a lot sooner, you'd have like a lot less problems in society, right? You'd have a lot less fuck ups.
Like how?
What do you mean how?
Like if we, what would we do with that information anyway?
Well, ideally, right? Let's say you have we mapped it all out and we came to this conclusion where like you could literally genetically like dictate like predetermine a person's like dispositions before they even know it, right? Just purely through their like genomes and shit. If we got to that point, then you could say, well, since this person has these kinds of predispositions, they deserve this kind of like care in this area. Like, let's say a person, is born with a super high intellect, but they have a genetic predisposition for autism. Then you can't just like thrust them in like a public school. Like you have to give them, a kind of like a more tailored environment for their predisposition. Whereas other kids could just, like let's say they're just really bad at arithmetic, but they're really good at socializing.
What about the breeding? Like how would you?
No, see, that's stepping into eugenics. That you can't. I'm saying like you could only be reactive.
I'm saying if you're thinking like this, wouldn't it come to selective breeding?
That's the danger. That's where it could easily lead into eugenics, and you don't want it to get.
Well, that's
there.
racism.
No, it's fascist. It's like
the way you're talking in a very scientific way, it wouldn't be racist. It would be completely scientifically picking out DNA.
No, because what I said,
Sifting
everything I'm saying, everything
DNA.
I'm saying is after the fact a person's born. You determine it after. It's like, all right, you're already in this earth. Like I didn't.
Okay.
And then it's like, we'll map your genomes as a newborn child, and we'll see like, what you're probably going to end up as. And don't get me wrong, that's also controversial in itself. But by no means am I saying.
I don't know why I thought you were going to just purge the DNA.
No, by no means am I, because that's leaning into eugenics. And like, listen, when it comes to eugenics, I'm not like for or against it. Like I have that's a whole separate can of worms. But what I'm suggesting is more so like a holistic process of like upbringing for a child that's more tailored to their genetic predispositions. I'm not really talking about like considering a person's like genetic lineage before you could let them reproduce or not. Like no, I'm saying like let that ride, let that be as chaotic as it is now. We just got to figure out
as chaotic as it is now.
Yeah, you just got to figure out how to deal with them once they come out. Because once they're out, they're out. There's no controlling that. So it's like, yeah, I'm not talking about eugenics at all. Like that's not what I'm getting at. Even though you can segue into that, where there's a lot of argument for eugenics. Like it's not like it's anything new to us. Like some of our most ancient known civilizations have done it, have practiced it. For like ages. Like the Spartans. They were pretty much consummate eugenicists. They were like, if any baby looked off, they would just throw it right off the cliff. Like that's eugenics.
I watched random documentaries and like there was some like random reading from like the 1500s about like people from like Europe visiting China or Japan.
Yeah.
And their like writings and thoughts about how different it was at the time. And they were like, over here we like most likely like we do have them sometimes, but we don't usually abort babies. But over there, they just willy-nilly pretty much step on the necks of the ones they think they can't feed. I'm just like, I love that. I love how different the cultures are.
Well, I mean, all right, so
they're like this secret thing. They're just like, nope, can't feed this one, and they step on the necks. It's like a common thing they just fucking do.
Well, I look at that as like,
but there was a lot of other things that like there were some things that you like disagreed with, some things that you're like, oh, you're doing better with that, like I say, like women in Europe, they were subservient.
All right, wait. Back to the sacrificing the baby you can't feed. All right, let's think about that. So let's say you had a choice, right? And you had multiple kids, and you just did the numbers, and you realized you couldn't feed all of them. And there was no social support system in place.
I'm not arguing this idea at all.
So I'm saying like I think that's not even a culture thing. It's just math. It's like they have no other choice.
Yeah, it's also like the
And it's
15
like you
fucking
think,
hundreds.
and you think that was like what? You think that behavior was exclusive to the Chinese? It's like, no, I bet like Dark Ages Europeans or Middle Ages
Other
Europeans
animals
probably
do it. It's natural. We make ideas that make us less natural.
No, we have ideas so that we could have more support, so that we don't live in a fucking world where humans have to sacrifice their offspring. That's why things like social, it's
Where
like
we
social
act like
services exist,
animals?
Brendan. Yeah, so this is why we develop as, a species and develop
I
civilization.
think we should develop naturally. I think anarchy is the right way.
What do you mean? That's retarded, man. I'm sorry. I can't abide by anarchy. I think it's like the stupid, because anarchy to me is like one bad day away from fascism. Like straight up.
Well, I can attest to that actually because at Occupy Wall Street, it became its own.
Oh yeah, you were an Occupy Wall Streeter.
Yeah, and I saw it slowly become its own like government, and I'm like, oh, this is because when a bunch of people gather, they form a fucking government, and that's just what fucking happens.
And that's really funny, like-
somebody's gonna lead, somebody's gonna be corrupt, and some shit's gonna go down because it's not the government's fault, it's human fault, it's human nature, and that's what I really learned from Occupy was. Like, you get a bunch of people with money and funding and blah, blah, blah. They can control the food. If they can control the food, they control everybody. And somebody is going to get enough power to fuck with that. Some douchebag is going to get enough power and get in there. Because it's made for psychopaths, the system.
All right. Well, when I went to Occupy Wall Street when I visited you there in Tent City, it just seemed like a bunch of people just like pissing in buckets and like going out to the street to like dump it every once in a while, which was, it was fun. Oh, and there were drum circles. I saw drum circles there. People were dancing. There was a lot
Pissing in buckets and jump circles.
Yeah, there was a lot of weed smoking. That was a jolly good time. Do you miss it? Do you miss living like that in Occupy Wall Street?
No.
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 Did you even believe in the cause that you were like there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just like they said. It was very vague. In the end, it was like, "What are your demands?" And like, pretty much, it was like, "No, just no government.
I just want to
No demands
You were like,
anymore."
"I just want to stand up against the 1%."
No. It was like, you want a list of demands because you want to do this, and that, and try to fix it. We want you out. No fuck this government. Fuck it all.
Yeah, but that's
Fucking give up.
but that's
Fucking just die.
But that's bullshit. Historically, change has never ever once happened just from a bunch of fucking hippie ass kids like getting together and sleeping in tents and
It's
pissing in
happened
buckets.
through bloody revolution.
And that's not what
that's
you guys.
the only
that's,
way
and
it
that's
seems
not
to happen.
And that's not what you guys fucking did out there. You guys did not do bloody revolution.
I
and
know.
Occupy Wall Street.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that was like if you really want to do it, you got to like march into those.
It's gonna
fucking,
take lives. Mm-hmm. Every revolution has taken a lot of lives.
Yeah, so
there's no fucking other way. It seems.
so that's why
It
peaceful.
seems.
Yeah, that's why peaceful protest generally seems like bullshit to me. I mean, I don't really. I mean, I respect the cause a lot of the times, but I don't
Well,
really
like
see
civil
it
rights,
as.
yes, but like
I don't really see it as something that's really gonna, especially in this day and age, because back in the 60s, they didn't have like, the digital age literally working against them. Because, as much as we can get whatever cause we want out there in mass, like instantly, it's that much easier to dilute it with like, I don't know, it's capital interests for one, In fact, I bet you'll get like a corporate agent to infiltrate like a cause way before a government agent will, just because that's where the money's at. And no matter what, like protesters still spend money, protesters still buy shit, they're still citizens. They're not people that are like really trying to break the system for the greater good because simply they just can't see any other options. Different protesters are like, I don't know. Well, all right, so I think it can work. For example, if the powers that be have a system in place that's working against them. For example, like what Gandhi did, for like India against like the British colonizers. Like that's a great example because the British came with the presumption that they were the civilized folk, that they were the people of a higher class of humanity, and they were the ones who didn't do barbaric shit like the locals, the natives. So it's like, when you take a policy of like turn the other cheek, and just pacifism, while like the supposed gentlemen of the world are like murdering and butchering your people, it's a really bad look, and it really does kind of like hurt your influence in like whole regions across people that, like in the eyes of people that actually matter in that context. So yeah, I think protesting isn't completely bankrupt of value. But when, if you want to speak in the context of quote unquote revolution, it's not a peaceful process. It's like a very, very violent, very rough, very unpleasant thing. And it's like, it's not empowering. It's desperate. It's fucked up. It's super scary,
Yeah.
And I hope to never have to go through with it, which is why I guess, we go through peaceful protests, in lieu of like violent revolution. But it's like we're forgetting that. I feel like getting swept up in like, emotional trends and shit like that, where it's just you start mistaking protests for revolutions. It's like, no, they're really kind of different.
Or maybe that's why they let us have them.
I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. Don't get me wrong. Like protests have easily led to revolutions, but I'm saying it's like protests don't always, equate to revolution. I mean, if we want revolution, there was that whole stupid fucking song by the Beatles about like that shit.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Penny, for your thoughts, like, do you think do you still believe in peaceful protest, or are you more leaning towards like violent radicalism, where you're like,
I've been to a bunch of peaceful protests. I don't think they let us do it. They kind of just let us have at it.
well,
and
that's the idea of that's the whole shtick
and
behind.
we feel like we did something.
Well, that's the whole idea of a peaceful
But
protest.
I don't think it
no
really
no
does
matter
anything.
but no matter what, like what you just said, like the point of a peaceful protest is that they have no choice but to let you do it because it's peaceful, because that puts the powers in a position where, since they're going up against something peaceful, they're literally proving their point as like a fascist, a fascist regime. Like they're literally proving that point. It's like we're just we're peacefully disagreeing. If we can't even do that in your territory, just admit it. You guys are fucking tyrants. So like that's the point of it. That's the whole advantage. That's the tactical value. But again, sometimes you just do, if you really want to see that change happen, you got to like follow through and take that like violent step. And the problem with that is like shit like that takes a martyr. It takes people willing to like just throw it all away their whole lives, just be like, yeah, I'm going to be the one to like murder a billionaire in like national TV and like be the guy, become the societal pariah. And in return, my sacrifice will mean other people can rise up and be like, we could all kill billionaires. Like that's how it's supposed to work. That's basically, that's it. It takes like a messiah figure. I don't want to be that motherfucker, like, and I know you don't. So like, that's kind of where like I guess like a peaceful protest could like fill in the gap so that no one has to do it. But like we eventually got to admit to ourselves, like someone's got to do it. Someone's got to be the first one to step up and like bust a cap in Jeff Bezos's cranium or something. And it's not going to be me, that's for fucking sure,
Yeah, fuck it.
I mean, so then that tells us like maybe it's all bullshit. Like maybe it's not as bad as we think it is. Maybe it really is. Like if none of us are actually willing to put our lives on the line, then maybe things aren't so bad where we're willing to kill ourselves to change it. And that's another thing to consider. I mean, like, all right, so
Maybe
there's
we
one
just
thing.
gave up.
I mean, if I'm gonna just sit there and look at all the things that are wrong with society, then yeah, then I will probably get like radicalized really easy. But then there's a lot of things that I know that I could be grateful for. I'm grateful for like the little bit of family that I'm in contact with. I'm grateful for good friends such as yourself. I'm grateful that I have the strength and the energy to be able to like do the things that I want to do. So it's like you gotta really consider things from every angle and not just like a socio-political or economical or whatever. Sometimes you really just got to take stock in your own personal life, in your own immediate surroundings, like 5 feet in front of you. And it's not just like like don't get me wrong, like that's not always gonna help, especially like if everything just sucks. But it's not just looking at like how badly things suck, but it's also like looking at like what you can actually do about it. And it's easy to forget, like the little things do amount to like bigger changes. we just like forget that, you know, in lieu of like just getting pissed and, you know, feeling like how unfair we were treated by life to end up in the situations we're in. But in reality, like that doesn't help. It didn't help me when I was fucking my life up. I had to like really just like start blaming myself for shit, take responsibility for it, and take like, you know, like actual steps to change shit. And it's not something that, I don't know, you can just expect to happen on its own. You got to like consciously make that decision. And you can't even hear it from other people either, because then you sound preachy and you sound like the asshole who's just like saying what everyone already knows. So it's like a really tricky thing. You know what I do? I am kind of like wigged out that, like, you know, it seems like our government and our food industry and like everything is generally like, see, that's where I get a little conspiracy brained. You know, I start thinking that like our institutions are actively trying to make us into these useless fucking whiny, like unhealthy, like domesticated fucking consumers, you know. But yeah, that's about the extent of it, which, you know, it's not even like that far-fetched to think. I mean, if I had to lead a whole modern nation, I'd want most of my people to be like domesticated consumers. I don't want them to be like rabid primitivists. Like, I want them to be nice and, you know, docile, right? Just like fucking themselves up on like pornography, junk food, you know, like stupid shit, like toys. You feeling all right, Brendan?
I'm a little too high for this right now, actually.
Oh, it's all good, man.
I smoke too much weed, everybody.
Have a beer.
I'm old.
Have a beer.
I don't feel like walking to the fridge.
All right. You know what? Let's backtrack, all right?
All right.
You said you were at Occupy Wall Street, right?
Yes.
And you were talking about like food supply.
Yeah.
Where did most of the food come from? What
Donations?
When you guys got food, what did it look like? Did you
Donations.
guys get trays of food, or was it like they just gave you a juice box
We
and a
got
sandwich?
like tons of pizza delivered to us. We
Oh,
had
shit.
like beans and rice and shit like that. Like a bunch of, like, we had a kitchen. People volunteered and
Like a
worked in the
pantry?
kitchen. Yeah, pantry and a kitchen.
Occupy Pantry?
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. All right, so what about bathing?
You had to figure that shit out.
All right, so you get like baby wipes, like dude
There
wipes.
was people around that would let you. I thought we went through this story. So there was people who would let you bathe, like people like that were supporting Occupy. This one older man would come around and like give me shit and help me out and like let me into his house to go take a shower one day, and I had a poncho on, and like I went in and he played me a song on his guitar, and it was like,
Oh no, I don't like where this is going.
It was a really
man.
gay song, and he had given me like a couple of Percocets.
He's trying to
and,
loosen you up, wasn't he?
Like while I was in the park still, and
Oh no.
so we were like, he was like, you should take a shower. I'm like, I'm okay. He's like, he looked me dead in the eye. He's like, you should take a shower
With
I'm
me.
like, I'm like, okay. And I went into the shower and I'm looking all around like, is there a fucking camera? Like, am I being watched? Like, is it gonna like think a video of me taking a shower? And I'll do it later. And I took in the shower and like I put my shit back on, and he's in the room and he has music playing and like he has some like wine or whatever. We're having wine. And he just starts like rubbing my foot.
All right, you know what? Okay, I totally see why you're hung up on this idea.
Hold this. Let me get that beer.
No, I totally see why. I totally see why you're hung up on this fucking idea of like being like a cute little twink boy prostitute, because you've definitely had all these like really gay experiences where like it's either some like aggressively gay dude or some older gay dude is trying to make you. It's like, relax, little dude, relax.
I haven't told this story on this show yet. It's probably gonna keep getting repeated just because it's gonna be forgotten
Talking to the mic.
and retold. So he's like, like giving you all these other like little luxuries, like help you out, like give you some pills, some wine. Can I suck your dick? And I'm like,
oh my god.
No. And he's like, he was so shocked. He was like, I'm like, I'm not gay. He's like, I thought you were gay.
No, man.
I'm like, no, I'm really sorry if I like gave that impression. Like I was really like, what have I done? And he was like, okay, but the offer's still up. Gay guys give the best blowjobs. I'm like, I bet they do, but it's the aesthetic. It's more of the, that's a guy. It's just a sexual orientation thing. It's not about how good you can do it.
Let me ask you something.
But
if you had,
like it's not done yet. So I'm still in the park, still living there, doing the Occupy shit, going on fucking marches and bullshit, and he has some like random. He comes up to me, he finds me in the park one day, and he goes,
"Oh my god, this is a multi-day."
Yeah, no, like he's like,
it's like an affair.
No, we're cool. Like we're cool. Like he
knows you're not gay.
He
now,
wasn't too
now.
pushy. He didn't like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't let me suck your balls. He wasn't like that. Guys come on strong, but he wasn't like aggressive about it.
Yeah.
He just thought I would be into it. I guess I don't know. I don't. Just fuck it. But whatever. So he has this party across the street, this fancy like Wall Street apartment, and he brings me in there, and I have my fucking wool poncho on with some underwear under, because that's what I'm wearing in Occupy. It's like, it feels like a fucking hippie fest,
That's what it was. You guys were a bunch of fucking rejects in society, just congregating in a public space.
Listen, so I'm in there, and it's all these like rich ass like aristocratic people, and like I'm there in a poncho, like am I the token like poor kid, like what's going on? And there's one dude that he introduced me to, he had a room, and like a nice room, and like they weren't doing drugs. I expected like maybe they were gonna be doing a bunch of coke or something. No, these people were so like that they weren't even doing coke. At least I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And he was the owner of like the biggest like gay porn site,
dude, because it makes a lot of money. It's a legitimate business.
That's what they were saying. I'm like, yeah, you live right across the street from fucking Zuccotti Park. You're not fucking poor.
Yeah, dude, that shit makes a lot of fucking money.
But it was strange.
I mean, yeah, it was. It's also.
But he never tried to like come on to me ever again after that.
I'm sorry.
I know. If he would have asked me twice.
Oh yeah, so let me ask you, like, if you had like $6 billion in your bank account, right? And fucking Zac Efron was like, dude, I want to suck your dick. Would you let him?
If I had 6,000 in my
$6
account,
billion in your bank account. You're like a billionaire.
Okay. So
And Zac
why would
Efron-
I let somebody suck my dick?
I mean, who gives a shit? Like, one of the hottest guys in the world allegedly is offering to give you a blowjob. Would you do it?
Nah, I'm not really into it.
Okay. No, I'm just letting you know. Like, I feel like there's all these like
And
conspiracy.
plus, I have $6 billion. I can go buy like the best blowjob ever. Right?
No, that's true. All right, you know what? Maybe you don't get it. You don't
I
get. Maybe
don't
you
get
don't
that question
maybe
at
you don't-
all.
Yeah, you don't get what I'm getting at. So there's like this controversy, right, about how like there all these like powerful billionaire men in society are actually like secretly gay, or they do gay shit, and I'm like.
I
I
wish
really
I was gay sometimes.
I really thought about it, because at first you hear that sort of thing and you're like, oh, it's probably just some silly rumor. Like, nobody really believes that sort of thing. But then you keep hearing it more and more. And then you start thinking about it. Like, first you start thinking about why and like the possibility. And then you start imagining what it's like to be like that, like powerful, or like that rich, or that popular, like a fucking celebrity. So, if you're a guy like, say, like Tom Cruise, how many women have you you could like bang whoever you want. Like, you could just like find like almost virtually any hot chick off the street and be like, hey, I'm Tom Cruise, let's go bang. And they'd probably be like, they'd probably at least entertain the thought, right? Just because that's that's star power. You know, if it was like any female celebrity to a guy, it would be like the same exact shit. So you have that, right? Knowing you already experience like everything you could ever want, you know, when it comes to like pussy or dick. Eventually, you're gonna want to try gay shit. You're like, why not? I've literally fucked the hottest chicks in like the world. Why couldn't I just go out and like fuck a bunch of dudes? So it's like I'm just saying, it's like I would never.
You
know.
just gave me a couple $1 billion, and just asked me a question. You know, I wasn't a billionaire for very long.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
you
like
gave me like
that's
a couple
what I'm saying.
seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you never lived that.
I don't know.
And I never lived that. So it's like I probably will never be a billionaire in my whole fucking life. But that's why it made me imagine, and I was thinking, it's like if I was a billionaire though, and I was like super famous or whatever, and I did fuck like a bunch of models, and eventually do that like every day for like maybe 3 years straight, every single day you fuck a new hot bitch. Eventually you're just gonna be like, fuck it, I'm bored. I'm gonna fuck a dude. You know, like I could totally see that happening with like really seriously famous people.
We don't really know.
No, I wouldn't know, but I could see it happening. Only because I've seen people do
anything can happen.
Only because I've seen people do way more depraved shit out of boredom with way less. You know, I've seen people who were nowhere near a billionaire, and I've seen people who didn't do nearly as much as a billionaire would do. But I've seen them do way more depraved shit out of sheer boredom. So I'm like, well, if I've seen that, then it's like, just think of the possibility.
Kind of like how you reach a certain point and you just start going to the Epstein Island.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, what's wrong with this anyway? I mean, I'm like literally, I'm so rich, I could literally kill someone and get away with it.
That's definitely a fucking thing. And they're just like, no, shut up, everybody. That's definitely a fucking thing.
All right.
These fucking people are going over there and fucking kids.
So it's like, yeah.
There's a fucking island, and they're definitely... It's not hard to traffic people, especially with the government.
Yeah. No,
come on, man. They're fucking bringing kids from poor countries and just like, oh my God. There's a horrible place somewhere where there's horrible things happening.
You know what's fucked up?
And we're just like, we know... Kind of.
You know what's
There's
fucked up?
Conspiracy that we know.
Listen. Epstein Island.
And we don't doubt it, but what the fuck are we gonna do?
Listen, Epstein Island is probably like old news by now. It's since 10 years now, it's probably been in space. Like it's the pedophile paradise in Space Station 9. You know, like that's where the rich people. That's where the rich people have been going, where they genetically clone children.
This is why we don't need billionaires, people. This is what happens when you have $1 billion.
And they don't even snatch children from the world.
Fucking kids.
They just clone them. They just grow children in test tubes specifically for like rich people's, satiation.
Oh my God, that's probably really true. Too.
Yeah. Like there's a satellite floating around. That's like this paradise, simulated paradise with these children just for rich people to visit and like molest.
Oh my God.
No, because like it's true though. I mean, if we're talking about celebrities flying to space, it's like it's already pretty fucking sus. It's like, come on, dude. That's what they would do.
They don't need to go to space. They just have to go to that island right now.
No, the island was clearly not the right idea. You had world leaders literally compromised from the island. They'd all rather go to the pedophile space station, for sure.
It's gonna take a couple years. They need a lot. It costs a lot of money to keep somebody in space. A lot, like more than you can imagine.
Yeah, but what if money wasn't an issue?
I can imagine a lot.
But what if money wasn't an issue?
It will still be an issue. If you go into space, it's still a fucking issue.
I guess. Possibly.
That's crazy amounts of money. Like,
I say
even for a multi-billionaire, that's a lot of money.
I'd say if we could have like privatized space stations and satellites, then anything's possible.
I don't know. What we got. They could be lying.
You know what? It actually is pretty much confirmed. I don't even like bringing this shit up because it's like it's so Joe Rogan. But like everyone's like talking about aliens because of all this shit's been like declassified and that government agencies have pretty much like admitted to. Right?
If there's aliens, they're not doing shit, so we got to figure our own shit out anyway. It seems like we have to figure our own shit out anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Even if they're here, they're not gonna like influence our shit. They're gonna let us do our own shit and fuck up or not.
Hopefully, ideally, that's what I would want. I'm into aliens. I hope. I mean, because they've pretty much already admitted they found shit that they don't know where it came from. Nobody's admitted to like developing that kind of.
Yeah, if you were that intelligent, you'd let another race, like, either fail or not. You wouldn't fuck around with it. If they were meant to fucking fail, they're meant to fail.
Unless you created that race for a purpose.
Unless you create it, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know about that. Why would you create a race?
And there's also the possibility where it could already be like precursor species, civilizations, like civilizations that have existed.
We're never getting into Assassin's Creed.
Well, I mean, it's clearly plausible. I mean, why wouldn't it be? The Earth is a lot older than our history gives it credit for, and that anything could have happened that just like wipes out all trace that we would just never know otherwise. Although nowadays, like our technology
Like
is
a
getting
solar flare.
It's one of the many things. But I said, like I was saying, nowadays our technology is getting so great that we could have already uncovered things that maybe they're not even letting us know they uncovered, you know? I'm just saying, it doesn't necessarily have to be extraterrestrial in nature. It could be precursor civilization shit.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just keeping it a secret because like who wants that to get out? Like.
Not the Templars.
Damn. 30% of your personality is like the last video game you played.
No?
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned that once.
What?
Just now.
What?
Only time I mentioned that.
Yeah, but you also just bought like every Assassin's Creed game ever.
I didn't get 3.
What was your favorite Assassin's Creed game?
Black Flag.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think I know
Or Unity.
My favorite one was actually like the worst one ever. Apparently, it was Syndicate. I really like Syndicate, but everyone hated it.
Actually, that's the one I haven't played through and beat because I thought it was so shitty.
What I liked about Syndicate was that it was a real Assassin's Creed game, introducing new shit, as opposed to like what what Odyssey did or Origin.
Origins and Odyssey was like
It's
taking
RPG.
The Witcher
Yeah.
3 and like making it an open world. Like you can be stealthy, but you don't have to. You can just go in there and fuck everything up, which is not assassiny at all.
But you have to be a high enough level.
But you shouldn't have dialogue options. If you're in the Animus and it's supposed to be recollecting memories from your past DNA of other lives, there's no choice in the fucking matter of what is
All
said.
right, so I don't know how Origins worked, but in Odyssey, you didn't have like a modern day counterpart. Like Odyssey was exclusively about the characters it was about.
No, Odyssey, yes.
Origins, I think you had a modern day counterpart. Like you were some dude, you know, like fucking with the Abstergo machine, right?
No, you're the same chick from Origins.
Okay, yeah. No, but in Odyssey, what was there a modern?
The same modern day.
Oh, you're right. There
protagonist
was a
the
modern
same
day
girl.
protagonist. All right, you know what? Yeah, they did fuck it up. Fuck it. That was stupid.
And then she
wrong.
was still in Valhalla, in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, when you're playing as Eivor, whatever you want. If you want to be all fucking proper about it, Eivor, which is either a male or female Viking.
Oh, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the Viking one, right?
Yeah, and that was the last one so far.
I like the Odyssey better.
Yeah.
I think Odyssey
Valhalla was so long, and you don't remember all the characters you interact with. That's how long it is. You just like don't give a fuck.
Yo, the newest one's gonna be crazy. The one in Japan.
That, and there's going to be the one in pretty much Iraq. When you're you play as who was the main antagonist in Valhalla, Basim.
Yeah.
And you play as Basim as an assassin. And it's supposed to be like more true to the old school Assassin's Creed games.
All right, cool. No, I liked. I think the Japan.
But I'm
ones-
replaying all the old ones right now because I just love that formula, the assassins, and like I fucking love it.
I loved Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs Legions is such a good game. I mean, it's not perfect. It's definitely a lot of there's a lot of broken bits to it, but I think like overall, it's just a fun thing. Especially, look, I never hated Assassin's Creed. I was never like against the series. In fact, I kind of liked it. But when Watch Dogs came out, it kind of gave me like that, but better, for me. And it gave me something more I liked better than what Assassin's Creed had to offer. Like what Watch Dogs was offering was like a similar experience, but just more. You got to do like more ridiculous shit.
I gotta play it.
You got to like fly a drone. Like isn't that cool? Like imagine like
But is it still like Assassin-y, like old school? I like the history of Assassin's
Okay,
Creed.
so here's the deal about Watch Dogs. You have options. Like yeah, you could go in with your guns, but like the most fun way is clearly like sneaking in like from like far away and flying a drone in, and then like you could hack someone's like a public profile, make them like most wanted, or make like hack into a gang server to put a hit out on them, and you see like cops coming in to like kill that one person, but then like you start like a whole like gang war in the territory, and you sneak in while they're shooting to like download the thing you download and you leave. That's not like assassin-y, but it's like hacker shit. It's like insane hacker shit, and it's just fun. I had fun with it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I think you'd like it a lot, especially if you like Assassin's Creed. It's like the same shit, but it's
modern, like futuristic.
Kinda, yeah. You could say that. I mean, nowadays, yeah, it's like pretty sci-fi. But when the game series first came out, it wasn't supposed to be like futuristic or cyberpunk. It was more so like contemporary, tech, just like binary computers and shit, just hacking through shit. But I don't know. I like the modern iteration, like where they took the games now. It's pretty cool. I don't know if they're ever gonna make another game again because I feel like it kind of ran its course. But
I'd like to do a playthrough.
Yeah,
of like an AC game or that game.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. No, I could probably facilitate that. What time are we at? Let's see. All right, we have a few minutes left on the clock. I guess we could wrap it up with Oh yeah, Brendan. So since I've cooked for you like multiple times already, I think it's time for you to come up with something to cook for me.
I want to cook a filet mignon with asparagus.
Yeah, asparagus?
A butter-basted filet mignon, yeah.
What, are you going to get like a quarter stick of butter? That's so much butter, dude.
I know. It's going to be delicious. It's going to melt in your fucking mouth.
So much stick of butter.
With some garlic, some rosemary, some thyme.
Yeah. Instead of using, instead of using like a skillet or a pan to cook a steak, I've seen like videos where people use a pot and they like.
No, you have to use a cast iron for the.
Okay, but I've seen people use like a pot and then they like put in like a stick of butter, and so it's like a whole like kind of like a thin like kind of layer of butter, and they put in like shallots, garlic, and then you put in the steak, and the steak just like soaks in the garlic butter.
I'm gonna do it my way at first.
Yeah,
that's
fine,
the way I know how to do it. So
no, I mean I didn't like what I was seeing really because it was too much fucking butter. I don't want a whole stick of butter in my fucking
half a stick, quarter, maybe
half a stick of
maybe
butter?
a quarter. It's not all gonna go into the steak.
What do you do with all that butter?
Pour the rest out.
Jesus, a whole stick of butter, like goddamn, a whole half a stick,
like a half a stick or a quarter stick.
Yeah.
With some rosemary, garlic. It boils down. It's not that much, and it goes into the steak and. There's no fat.
Yeah.
So you need that extra, like, juiciness.
In the filet mignon.
It's the most tender
the little
slice.
small, little circular cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Crusty on the outside, but completely bloody, almost like room temperature on the inside.
Did you ever have a surf and turf?
I don't like fish.
Oh, yeah, you're not a fish guy. Okay, so when you have a steak, what's your favorite side? Is it asparagus, potato, or
asparagus, potato?
I like mushroom.
That too.
White cauliflower.
Yeah.
I also like I like the lobster tail with the steak.
I can't really say much about that.
Yeah, you got to get over. I got to figure out how to break your hatred of seafood.
I think I'm allergic to shellfish.
What about just fish?
I just don't like it.
You know what's fucked up? Like, let's say I went on vacation with you. Like let's say we went to Hawaii together. You would be missing out on all the best foods there just because of your aversion to seafood.
Yes.
Would you eat octopus?
I would take a bite, probably spit it out. I would try something.
What about
but
scallops? Would you try scallops?
I would try, but I would probably spit it out. It wouldn't. I wouldn't like it.
All right.
I will put it in my mouth and chew it. But if it's not gonna go down, it's not gonna go down. You know, I'll try. I'll touch the flavor. I'll feel it and everything. Like if it's not, if my body's like, no, I'm just gonna.
But you'll
You know?
eat any bird, right? You'll eat duck, turkey, chicken.
I will try anything. I don't like gamey meat though. I don't like deer.
Damn.
I've had deer burgers and it gamey meat just tastes fucking dirty.
You're so
It tastes
fucked up.
dirty to me. It
You're
tastes
so
like
fucked up.
filthy.
You're so fucked up.
Sorry.
No, it's insane to me. Like I don't know how you could expect to survive without eating seafood or gamey meat. I'm like that's like nature's bounty right there. You know, like whereas the red meat. You know,
I don't like that much meat.
Oh yeah, are you a vegetarian by nature?
No. We're all carnivores. I don't care what you fucking say.
But you
You're
only
a fucking
like-
carnivore.
so then you only like red-
You're supposed to eat fucking meat.
So you really only like red meat.
Chicken and red meat. Yeah, fowl. I like duck, turkey, chicken, steak, lamb. Yeah.
Damn. I would see. I like a lot more than that. Fuck. That's crazy. You can't live like that. Like, because then you can't. I don't know. The world's such a big place. Like, and not everywhere has like.
Everywhere has fucking chicken, turkey, beef,
No.
or fucking pork,
No.
or lamb.
No. Not in the same way we get in the U.S. Okay.
Well,
All right,
I'm
first of all,
fucking
let's
stuck here anyway.
Let's start with beef. All right. Do you know why I eat steak?
I'm hungry. Fucking goddamn it.
I don't eat fucking steak because like just specifically because I mean I do like steak, but I eat steak because in America beef like steak is like the most bioavailable like food you could ever have. You know, like compare like with the actual nutrients and the vitamins you get from like per gram of steak, it's insane. You know, it's got a crazy spread. That's why I eat steak. It's like medicinal to me. Like I need my weekly steak just to, you know, like just to be wired correctly because in America there's no other way to go. Maybe in other countries different. Maybe the most bioavailable food source for them is like tropical fruits mixed with like their, you know, whatever poultry they got going. But for us here, it's definitely like a lot of it is mainlined on beef. Beef is our shit. Like we got like
We got the beef.
we got the beef. And like beef gives us everything. It gives us like vitamin, like so much protein, vitamin B, vitamin A, fiber. You know, it's good. It's good for you. And you know, it's like I feel for vegans because veganism is such like a huge trend in this country, and it's kind of fucked up to be an American and to like abstain from like especially beef. Like it's the one thing we really got going for us.
When I worked as I had a short gig working for the Salvation Army. I had to make enough food for like a couple hundred people, whatever, each day. It gave me a couple hours, and I'd make like a buffet.
Yeah.
And the one dude before me always showed me you use chicken stock to boil the vegetables in. And there'd be some people that were like, no meat for me, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian. And I'd serve them the vegetables that were cooked in chicken or beef broth.
Yeah.
And they would eat it, and they'd be like, oh, that was the best vegetables.
And then you didn't want to tell them
like-
like it's tainted with animal
It's
parts.
because you love meat, you fucking cunt. And you're also homeless, so shut up. Are you going to be picky?
This is how I feel
I'm
about
only vegan. It's
Dude,
like you're homeless. You eat food.
Isn't that
you eat whatever food is food?
Isn't that despicable? This is how I feel when you're like, no, I want fast food. I want to get McDonald's, and I'm driving past like good
I'm
restaurants.
using my card, okay? When I've eaten liver in the fucking soup.
It's like I'm driving past like delicious like
I've had my fair share of
like
eating in soup
Cajun
kitchens,
seafood.
all right?
I'm like, Brendan, doesn't that look good? And you're like, ugh, I want a McDonald's chicken sandwich.
If the main
And I'm
course
like,
isn't
fuck
good
you.
enough for you, you just eat the fucking bread and the fruit and whatever. Okay, I've eaten a lot of soup kitchens. You can't be picky.
You know what? Soup kitchens, you'll never go wrong, I guess. Because soup kitchens, you'll always have like, no one's gonna afford seafood for a soup kitchen. It's always gonna be like fowl.
I love eating at soup kitchens.
What?
It's really humbling experience, and it's also a really good meal most of the time. Soup kitchen meals are good.
It's hearty.
It's just the right amount of each like food group.
It gives you all your nutrients.
Yes.
Do you get a dessert at a soup kitchen?
Yeah. You can get seconds.
No, you can't.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a bunch of food to take home. If it's the weekend, you get a bunch of like a bag full of like juices and milks and granola bars and fruit cups and shit. Fruit snacks.
Do you think like, all right, so soup kitchens are probably never going to go away, right?
I hope not.
You know, it'd be weird if like poverty went up, but less people showed up to soup kitchens, you know?
That wouldn't happen.
No, you don't think so?
We're going to show up to soup kitchens.
Yeah. I guess no matter what, if you're hungry,
As
where
a
there's
bicycle
food,
messenger, if you had your bag and your lock and shit, they saw you're a bike messenger, they let you cut the line and just run right in because then you were going to eat real quick and then get the fuck out.
yeah, because most bike messengers were fucking crackheads.
But they
Homeless
knew
crackheads.
you were working. So you were going to go in, eat, and immediately get up. Where all these other guys that were homeless living on the streets would hang out, take a couple shits, a couple pisses.
Yo, all right, so
Hang out in the warmth.
You knew.
Get a massage.
you
They
knew
had a
the-
massage table. They did.
You knew the company I worked for, right? Champion.
Yeah.
All right, so I worked like separately for them for like 3 years, and what I will say is this: isn't it crazy how much more a bike messenger eats than the average person?
You have to.
Yeah, because you're burning so many calories. So if you're not out there, like at least, all right, every day, if I didn't have at least like 5 hot dogs, I'll be fucked. I would have to have enough
That's
money.
why after Hurricane Sandy, I went back to work, and I was living off of MREs. And those things are fucking tailored for
High
people
calories.
on the go.
High
High,
calorie,
calories,
yeah.
high salt,
high fiber,
a lot of sodium because you're burning off that sodium.
electrolytes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would just be a high-powered meal. I'm like, this shit is fucking great. I would be able to go off
Yeah,
like
but-
1 or 2 a day and just like fucking crazy.
But certain flavors are better. Like, you know, like fucking.
Yeah, you want a fucking papaya dog. You want a dollar slice. You want
No,
the
I'm saying
cookies
MREs,
that are
like certain
heated
flavor-
up on 53rd Street.
Like certain MRE flavors are better than others. Like you could get the peanut butter ones, or you could get like the jalapeno cheese. you
Yeah.
know? I'd rather have the jalapeno cheese. You know?
I love it though, and you get a little candy with it. If I was in the army and I'm like opening this shit up in the mud, I'm like, oh fuck yes,
It's the
Skittles.
best part of my day.
Fucking Skittles. And a little miniature milkshake. And like, I can just pour a little bit of water in some milkshake and just shake it up a little bit. And there's like this I can warm my hands in it and just fucking eat some pasta or some like rice and beans.
Yeah, but
like
usually-
Chipotle sauce.
But usually you're gonna get that peanut butter bullshit, and you're gonna be like, ugh.
But every once in a while.
You get that
It's
chili. You get
amazing.
the chili cheese.
It must be amazing being out there on the field and like, fuck yeah. You know, it must be fucking good. Like chili and beans, like, yes. You know, you just let it heat up. You warm your hands while it's heating up. Cause
Finally, jalapeno.
that like
cheddar.
weird chemical reaction from the water and the heater pack. You're just like, ooh, boy. It must be fucking amazing. It must be good.
And then like a minute later, your boy gets shot in the head, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh my
this-
god.
I'm not stopping this chili and bean process. It's been like 2 days, man. Fuck this.
I'm sorry, you're already
Pretend
dead.
that didn't happen.
You're already dead. I gotta eat. Like, so I'm not dead. Like,
I've recently had some fucked up dream. I had a dream last night that I dropped a nuclear bomb. Like they like showed me how to do it, and I didn't think for some reason in the dream I didn't think it was gonna be that big. And I just went, and the whole idea was I had to let this bomb go, light a lighter real quick, light the fuse as it was going down, and just go. And in the dream, it was just like,
you pulled it off.
and it was like okay, and I just went. And I'm like, holy shit. And I run and I hit like a cliff. And I'm like, my face plants on this cliff. And the heat wave's coming like. And I'm like, I'm gonna wake up from this, aren't I? And like the heat wave was like just not hot enough. It just scorched me a little bit. I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, and like the rest of the dream, I'm like, I definitely have cancer. There's no way I don't have fucking cancer. And I'm just climbing cliffs and shit. And I woke up after that. That was the last dream I had. That's all I remember. Is fucking dropping a nuke and watching the fucking mushroom cloud and going, oh my god, I killed like 500,000 people. And then they hit a cliff and the heat wave hit me and I'm like, I'm dead. Okay, that just hurt a little bit. And that was the end of the dream. It's fucking crazy.
It's pretty good though.
Why did I think it was acceptable to light a nuke with a Bic lighter from an airplane in the first place? I don't fucking know. But I was just like,
makes sense.
It was like a helicopter, and I was like behind me. I'm like, okay, no big deal.
The craziest
standard fucking.
The craziest dream I've ever had. This is when I was like staying at my friend's house, and I went to sleep, and I just had this. It was kind of a scary dream. Like I was in like the supermarket. I was with like people that I kind of knew, but I was in some kind of trouble. And then I look outside the window of the supermarket, and it's actually a boat, like a ship, like a ferry ship. And like it was a boat supermarket. And outside the window I see water, and there's like police boats like saying like stop, and they were after me. So I go like, where's the bathroom? And they point to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and then I'm like, oh my god. And then like I'm like, oh, there has to be a window. So I look out the window, and then suddenly it's like train tracks. Like I'm on a train. So I'm like, oh, perfect. So I jump out the window, and then like I'm on these like train tracks all of a sudden, and it's like a beautiful day. Suddenly it's like super sunny, and I got away. I was like, fuck yeah. And then I get on the platform, and everything just looks so serene and so perfect. And then I'm like, what the fuck? And then I realized like I'm in the future, So it's like I go up to the nearest person, and then they were like doing some weird drug, like dropping some shit in their eye, and it was really bizarre. And this is like this is why it's such an unforgettable. I never had a dream like this before ever again. So like I asked this person, I was like, where can I find a city? And then they just look at me as if I'm retarded, and they're like, oh, everyone knows the two biggest cities are in the poles. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So then somehow I end up like being taken by this person to the city to meet their friends, and these are all future people, and they're doing future shit like scanning people's pockets for stuff, and I was so happy. And then I woke up, and this is the craziest part of the dream actually. I wake up, and I was where I was asleep, and then I run into my friend's room, and my friend was there with his brother and other friends, and I was like trying to explain the dream, but I couldn't say anything. Like my mouth wouldn't open. And before I could even say anything, I just wake up again, and the whole house was empty. Like everybody was already gone. So it's like it was a crazy dream. It's like I was like, it was one of those dreams. Like not only was it an insane dream itself, but the circumstances of waking up from it was also crazy.
I hate waking up and not actually waking up.
Yeah, that was the craziest part to me. I was
they
like,
say
holy
pinch
fuck.
yourself. You know how many times I've fucking pinched myself? Yeah, I feel that. I'm still in the fucking dream.
Yeah.
I'm definitely awake right now. I feel it in the dream as much as I feel it doing it now. It's no fucking difference. The mind's powerful.
Well, the worst dream I've had where I actually felt it was there was a couple of dreams. There was one dream where it's like it ended. Actually, no, there's 3 dreams. First dream, it ended where it was like I was like really fiending for a McDonald's sausage egg McMuffin with cheese, and the whole dream I was like, I'm gonna get it. And it's like at the last minute of the dream, like I got it. I could smell it. I swear to God. And right as I took a bite, I woke up. I cried. Second dream. It was a sex one. Like right when I was like finally like about to do it, I wake up and I'm like, no.
My craziest wet dream.
No, third dream where my senses were overridden. I was so sure it was real, and I was like so into getting this motorcycle. And this whole dream I was working, doing all this ridiculous shit to get this motorcycle. And right as I got it, I wake up. Ever since then, I wanted a motorcycle.
Okay, my craziest wet dream was I'm in my upstairs room when I was like 12, 13. And I'm looking out the front window and it's snowing. And I look over to my left, and there's some like Asian chick in my bed.
Oh shit.
And then I look at the snow, and I come into my pants, and then I wake up, and I actually came in my pants. And I'm like, why was that sexual? I was looking at the snow. I woke up, I'm like, whoa, what? Holy shit.
There's definitely some shit for the therapist. Anyway, we're about out of time. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.
We love you all.
Send me $20 so I don't have to jump the turnstile and go to court again.
Hells yeah.